but that means everything else is now available that was banned before. Kale Kassadin still repeated here for the Curse Academy lineup, though. Which means Twitch and all the protector supports are going to be up there for Impactful. The Jack's still away from Ruck, so you're seeing which teams are sharing bans, but...
It's a Lucian. That's going to be the first pick, Lucian. They first picked it in Game 1 for MashMe, and he had a phenomenal performance on it, and he didn't get it Game 2.
Yeah, and it's still to keep it away from Impactful, but again, he'll just get Twitch for the third game here. He can pick it whenever he wants. If they want to rush some contested picks elsewhere, they can do that. There's the Lee Sin steal, and the Zig steal as well, so Curse Academy really putting a damper on Coastal lineups.
Yeah, Santorin is going to have to go with an Elise here for the most part. He has some other things in his back pocket if he wants them. They're having some discussion. Golden Glue, he'd go with a LeBlanc. He'd go with Nidalee, who's still open. Didn't do too well in Game 1 when the Nidalee-Ziggs matchup, granted, it was swapped in terms of who had it. But have to see what ends up happening here for these two teams.
The thing is, I'm surprised they're not just going for support plus top laner here. Because what, like, okay, I'm glad they're actually hovering on Shyvana here because you're basically allowing Curse Academy now to get 3 really important picks plus counter pick as well, right? They could either get all the contested ones, like this is the makings of a great champ select for Curse Academy. They've got the ability to completely outplay everything right now. And I think that's a very big risk then for Team Coast. They better have really smart things prepared for themselves that they're not trying to show yet.
Yeah, you're going to have a strategy prepared. They're holding off on the support. Braum still available right now, still up. It looks like Nami is going to be what it is for Bunny Fufu here.
Interesting. So third support in 3 games for Bunny Fufu on this one. Nami is very good at Twitch. It's actually a very lane dominant pairing right here. You have a pretty good chance of fighting against Lucian. So if you do 2-on-2, you've got to have a pretty much a superhero support there for Coast to make that lane go well.
So here's the thing, is do you pick Braum just in conjunction with Lucian? Because Coast, being blue side right now, they don't want a lane swap, but they pick Lucian for the lane bully presence, so you don't have to do the 2-on-0 in the top lane. You keep him bottom lane, because Lucian's a big lane bully and people want to avoid you. But now that they conjunction it with Nami, you don't want to take Braum for the most part, because it doesn't have as much lane pressure as a Nami in terms of auto attack, brass back and forth. Yeah. But if you land something, it's a kill lane. This makes a little bit more sense to me. But the thing is that Nami does well against Morgana.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird back and forth here because their supports are in favor of Curse Academy, but the AD carry is in favor of Coast currently. So it's mismatched lane. They might go 2-2.
I don't know why you pick Morgana here. This doesn't make any sense at all. You've got a big Sieger in Ziggs, a big crazy late game carry in Twitch, and you picked almost no tools to get to him. Yeah. The exception being that if you can Black Shield a LeBlanc, she can go make plays by herself, right? If you're going to jump for the wall, throw spells, and back out, that synergy I get. But that is the only reason in my mind you pick a Morgana here, because it's so easy to play around that from everyone else. Saint gets people back. Chris can knock, well, not Chris, but it's going to be Mancloud knock people around. Same thing for the Nami as well, and Impactful's laughing in the backlines using, bolts that pass through everyone. So Curse Academy, to me, look really, really good right now. They can go ahead and pick Renekton to fight up against Shyvana in that top lane. And to be honest, I think Curse Academy has the recipe for success here. They've got so much late game, but good enough lanes that they're going to get there safely.
Yeah, they have some lane-dominant champions all throughout. You have Ziggs, who's going to dominate the early game up against LeBlanc. You're going to have Renekton in the top lane over Shyvana, has natural advantage there. And then the Twitch Nami. The Nami definitely more of a lane bully than Morgana, but yeah, Lucian a little mismatched there. So right now, Coast has a little better scaling, except for the fact that there's Twitch and Ziggs.
Yeah, aside from the soul lanes that are going to carry the game.
But I feel like Mash's Lucian is really good.
Okay,
Renekton falls off, and LeBlanc pretty much scales up to if you're going to get to the Twitch. So I think Ziggs wave clear is something you have to take into account this game, for sure. And
I don't know
if they can keep Twitch down.
If they can.
That's for Coast.
I think, to me, the thing you really got to look at is this Golden Glue Mancloud matchup. To me, that's what the game boils down to. Because you talk about, LeBlanc getting the back lines, LeBlanc blowing people up. That's a requirement for Coast to win this game. Is Golden Glue better go off right now? He's an assassin player by trade. Zed and Akali were 2 big hallmarks of his when we saw him in the spring split, both Challenger and LCS. And LeBlanc is another one of those assassins, but he has to go off here. If he is held down by the Ziggs lane, I don't think there's a way for Coast to win.
Yeah, there's a big thing here, too, is that it's very early game oriented for the side of Curse Academy in terms of all of their picks have very good early game presence. So you can go ahead and turn that into an early dragon. You can turn that into an early objective. You can go after their blue. You can go after their red. You can invade off the middle. That's perfectly fine. And they're going to be in this situation where they can make early game moves, like you said, and transition that into the late game and have their team composition really turn on for team fights.
Yeah, and the thing is, they can do so many things with it as well. If you go for a jungle fight, you've got Nami tidal waves and like the level 7 Renekton like showing up is going to do a great job of this. But also, because you've got Ziggs right here wearing Res Rubber Ducky and some water balloons, your level 9 turret siege is also awesome. Like Mancloud could totally go off in this game if he holds up in his lane. Right, both these guys have won their lane really hard, one way or the other. Golden Glue won in game 1, Mancloud won his lane in game 2, and again, to me, it's still the matchup you've got to watch right here.
It's pretty much the same thing in AD carries, too, though. Mash went off game 1, Impactful went off game 2. It's anybody's game in game 3, but they're going for an invade here. Oh!
Good flash.
Good flash, good binding from Sheep. He gets that summoner spell out of Bunny Fufu, and now that actually gives them a big advantage if they go for 2-on-2 lanes in bottom.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got a lot of ways to pressure this. Santorin on Elise might have a field day down there. Now, almost every support goes semi-deep utility, so 4.5-minute cooldown. They'll time that till 5 minutes. You'll have a short window to punish that after the 2 buffs.
And now they're actually still looking for this, though. We see that Sheep is off on that bottom right side. Santorin's there, too, and Rux is making his way bottom. But everybody is over on this side of the wall. If there's a late invade from Coast, they're going to walk straight over a ward, and it'll be a 4v5.
This is so risky from Coast. They have no ward. Here's the problem, right? They have no wards to watch if Curse Academy is doing anything, except that they would know if CA sends a duo lane towards their blue buff. When they don't see that, they have to assume Curse Academy has actually got a lot of people on this side of the map. In fact, their trinkets are timing out. Like, there's no reason to go for this as Coast. You don't have enough information to go for this.
They're pinging for it. There's a... Yeah, they're actually going to go for it. That ward is going to see see Rux enter, and they actually abandon their position on Curse Academy, so it's not as deadly.
Four-man bubble, and a first blood comes in. Rux on the way out. This 4v5 fight, and look at him scatter right there. Great start.
Immediately blown up. Early game Renekton just gets a kill, and 4 assists across the board. 400 gold lead now for Curse Academy right out of the gate. It's going to delay Santorin a little bit in his jungle, and now there's 2-on-2 lanes in the bottom. And there was a lot of summoner spells blown there. We saw the heal and the flash blown here for Mash and Sheep.
Okay, so you've got basically 2 summoner spells on each side. Mash has got flash, Sheep's got ignite, Impactful's got both, but the push lead is here for Mash, me, and Sheep. So they're going to have the early lead on this one. And you're saying this is a very important matchup. I agree. If they get some stuff going on, but Golden Glue now having a really rough time. Mancloud already dropping him down to 200 HP, and the potions are required.
Yeah, it's that lane bully from Ziggs. I said he had the early game pressure using his passive and the bouncing bomb constantly, and now Saint gonna get that 2-buff start, but so is Santorin. He's gonna be a little bit delayed though.
We'll see if they can make it happen, though. Elise, generally a better solo jungler than Lee Sin is, but as you mentioned, being delayed makes that a bit easier. Saint's got both of his buffs right now, and he is unlocked to roam around the map by about 310. You're seeing how slow Santorin is right now. Golden Glue has chugged all of his potions and is just now at full health, but he's leveled down on Mancloud, who's level 3, has potions to spare, so definitely a lead for the Curse Academy mid laner.
There's a lead pretty much across all the lanes except for Mashme, who has an advantage over Impactful by about 10, shoving him into the turret.
Doing a great job of that one. They were on the correct side of the map to start it up, and they got the early push in. And you're seeing now as the waves reset, a 6 CS lead. That is an actual lead right now for Mashme, a full wave. He is above his opposition. SaintVicious looking for the gank in the top lane, trying to hold Rux down. Of course, Chris, pretty big level 3 full Fury Renekton, but there's no gank to be had.
Another big thing is that he backed and he got a longsword already off of the first blood. So he has a lot of combat stats, a lot of bully combat stats in his inventory.
Wow, look at this for Rux. He has the tenacity to say, you know what, I don't think Lee Sin's diving, but you saw him back up at the beginning, say, still don't see Lee Sin, he turns back in, he's going to be safe. Level 3 on him. Chris not finding a way into dealing any damage, so Rux only down 4 CS, despite the first blood advantage. Is not too bad.
Yeah, had to use his TP to get back up to the top lane, but so did Chris, because he waited for the longsword. And now Saint getting nothing but having to roam around the map in this bottom lane. Let's see who can run away with
Good
this.
black shield, though. Mashmooter taking actually still takes a bunch of damage actually back. Impactful wins that trade. Again, Nami just does a better job fighting than Morgana does. You're seeing it start to come in now that the supports have all their spells.
Santorin looking mid, though.
Mancloud, there's the root. Ooh. How do you miss that cocoon? Santorin missing out on so much potential damage. That was a bad misplay.
It's the flash by Mancloud to try and get out of the root, but he gets rooted away. And then the cocoon was just a little too fast.
There's a slow. They switch towards Sheep, who now does not have Black Shield. More damage comes through. Mashme is going to still have to be careful there. 4 poison stacks on him.
It's ticking away, blowing his last potion there.
Oh, Mash, she's going to jump backwards. Flashes out of range. The binding on a SaintVicious. That's going to be the kill picked up. I can't believe that happened.
Caught under the turret by a dark binding. The relentless pursuit, the flash and dash coming out from Mashme to pull him even further back and get out of the range. Sheep, that was an amazing binding there. That's another one right there, too.
They're going to put some damage on Impactful. These guys can't re-aggro, so Coast will be able to suck up a bit of experience here. They didn't want to have to miss that wave, and they're not really going to have to here. Santorin looking for round 2. They're going to go for the root, the flash to land the Q, but he misses. He misses that, and they, again, can't get the kill on Mancloud. Coast cares so much about the mid lane matchup, but they can't tip it.
I can see the vein popping out of your head.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
We're going to watch this again. Goes straight in there. Flashes after the Q lands completely. Most people will mistime that. Because you flash as the Lee Sin's still flying at you, and he'll go all the way. But Mash gets the right distance away from the auto attacks, and Sheep is coming up big there, equalizing the gold, and actually, yeah, 100% equal right now.
100% equal, extremely well played. Then Coast might have their way back in on this one. Golden Glue trying to harass his opposition. Of course, Mancloud's gotten to back once and held equal CS. So now if Golden Glue wants to get some items, he will miss out on a wave while doing so, unless he can get some help from Santorin to shove the wave. Right now that's not happening here, so Mancloud they give the slight edge in this mid lane. Do have to commend Mash and Sheep, though. They're going to get their recall, and it's going to be Phage and Potions versus Vamp Scepter Boots.
Mash likes to chase people down and use the Ardent Blaze to just push that advantage and get the constant damage here. Golden Glue, you can see he's actually splitting his points. He's got 2 into Distortion currently, so we can help clear the wave. He's just going to get constantly pushed in on. It'll allow him to back at the right time as well.
Ruck's missing a lot of CS under the turret right here. He's going to get a few of these, but you're seeing an 8-minion deficit there, and he missed all those casters.
And the laugh.
Chris knows. That's a frustrating one. Rux and Chris both have teleport. Chris actually should be very close to the makings of Tiamat. With the longsword early on, he doesn't need nearly as much to finish that item. Sheep looking around. He's got the red buff, of course, from that kill onto Saint. Coming out soon, though, and her low attack range doesn't make it very easy to use. Here we go, more CS under turret here for the Coast duo lane. Nice little spell right there, and he'll get up into a decent spot. So an 8 CS difference, still the lead for Coast, plus the kill and assist. And keep in mind, the assist that Mash has is worth a lot more than Impactful, so that is a pretty reasonable gold.
And second buff's coming up here just now. Saint is actually getting very low from this one, so he might have to actually get out of the jungle after this gank, whereas Santorin, as Elise, he's just going to let his Spiderlings tank it and not take as much damage, so he'll be ready for a gank.
We'll see if that's actually a window that's going to matter right here. You're going to see that Mancloud...
he's going to go for it!
Not quite in time. Does get basically a timer on it, though, so they both know. It's a 7.5 to 8 minute buff spawns. Nice attempt there, Mancloud. Of course, lower cooldowns with all that. You can see both these guys, though, have their Chalice. And Rux now actually starts feeling a little more powerful now that he's level 6. Now that he's hit level 6, he has a way out.
He backed first, so he got his boots, and he also got the giant spell.
Very good point.
Just the longsword.
Absolutely, it's a very big deal right there.
Didn't use his TP, too.
Wow, that's impressive. So only 11 CS down. Renekton now going to be the one to back. He realizes the stat disadvantage does matter. Will it be enough? Mash taking even more damage here. Sheep firing back, getting some gold.
So the fact that Rux didn't use his TP is actually really huge.
Oh, yeah.
Because if he forces Chris back right now and he uses his teleport, it's time for Dragon. It's time to put pressure on that bottom lane for Coast.
We'll see if they can do this one. Zigzomp, nice dodge by Golden Glue. He does clear this ward out. Gives some respect to Mancloud, but does enough to kill this one off. So some wards have died, and Chris actually is still not backing. He feigns the recall to get Rux to push, and then just simply walks back in on this one. We'll see if he recalls for realsies this time around. But Rux is keeping this minion game pretty decent. There's the Tiamat for Chris.
TP.
And that's the TP. Yeah, okay. So this could be a big deal. Looks like Rux might want to make his way down across the map. He's actually running down towards the river right here.
Yep.
Could be the play for Coast.
He's hiding off on that side. Tiamat's going to allow Chris to push very quickly.
Golden Glue gets a silence. Does not quite land the chain, but at least he's getting some damage down. There's no potions left onto Mancloud. So if you're getting harassed down guaranteed with blue buff regen, you will eventually push your opponent out. Golden Glue is dodging these satchel charges. He's dodging the bombs. He's down 10 CS in lane, but it's not over for him, and I feel like it's going to actually start tipping because of the blue buff.
We're going to have to see what happens there, because honestly, just back and forth, and there's more potions in favor of Golden Glue as well. So he can go ahead and sustain up some of the damage that he will sustain, or he will take.
Yeah.
He's the same word. Yeah.
Different meanings, but
exactly. I swapped the meanings halfway through.
Worked out.
And now they're going to go ahead and get this pink ward here. He's going to get engaged on, though.
Saint wants to defend it, but he really can't in a 1v2. Jumps away. Saint actually wants the fight, though, but he saw Santorin. Saint, I don't know why you went in on that. That's a big burst of damage. Now Mancloud's in the wrong spot. Pops barrier early. He's going to flash the wall, does get away from the binding. There's the ward hop, there's the jump over the flash, ulti in for Sheep. There's the tidal wave, but Mancloud's going to fall down. Mash finds the kill, and there's a cocoon onto Bunny Fufu. Santorin going to keep chasing. There's Twitch with the ulti, impactful. Going to push the team away, binding, not quite going to land, but it does still mean Dragon.
Yeah, Saint's down, Dragon, the smite is still alive for Coast. They're going to go straight for it. Chris, he's forced to come down and walk down, but I don't think they're going to get anything for it. They'll have to go ahead and delay this. They might be able to fight because Santorin's low, but you'll have to burst him out and pop. Just 50-50
a really small window. No Ziggs ulti. These players just now respawning. Saint coming across the map. There's the smite picked up. Well done. This is a play. He's in the brush. There's the chain. The flash is still going to be the root. Nothing else picked up, though.
Maxing distortion there first on Golden Glue. The lower cooldown on it is going to help him get out even if he was surrounded. But right now, that play that SaintVicious went for was just way too risky. I don't know what he was going to get out of it. He goes in, he gives up his life, which gives up dragon control and pressure because your smite's down at this point in the game. They end up getting multiple kills, 2 kills, and a dragon.
Golden Glue's got to be careful. The Q's going to land on the real one.
Time.
Oh my gosh, that was close. Flashes as the Q lands.
Yeah, that's happened to him twice this game.
Yep.
A little infuriating when that happens.
You should get the flash and get some turret damage, though. First Academy are getting something decent out of it. Even though the scoreboard doesn't reflect it, the fact that this turret's down this low, First Academy could claim that structure here.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go ahead and just knock this one over right now. Santorin is coming up. Sheep is off on the side.
There's a chance.
Oh, they have a TP behind them.
Exactly. It's enough to force them away. Cocoon again. It misses, but Rux goes in. Mancloud does not have a good way out. He will burn to death. Rux claims the kill, and now the chase towards SaintVicious. But you know what? They can just regroup towards mid and push a turret down.
Yeah. Turret ends up getting dropped mid lane. And that nice TP from Rux in the back line onto Mancloud, who had no escapes, no flash available, was low on mana. So good plays here from Coast coming out in this first 12 minutes of the game, 2K up, and now Rux is actually going to be in time for this minion wave.
That's awesome for him. This is so good for Coast right now. This is a slower version of that first game where just the moves they make sense. They're getting the advantage every single time they go for stuff. Sweepers coming out, 3 of them already for Coast. They say, yep, there's really nothing around Dragon. I don't even know why you care about sweeping Dragon at this point since it's not coming up for 4 minutes, but Coast definitely have just completely crushed the vision on the map right now. Curse Academy can't see anything.
Yeah, and the blue actually just came up too, so Curse Academy will get their own blue, thankfully for them. And they abandoned it from Coast.
That's a timer that Coast realistically could have had. They saw Mancloud get back to lane.
Well, they also had a ward on it right there.
Yeah, but they decided to make a different play to go for the safer one, give Golden Glue his blue. It looks like the aggression is on cooldown right here. I think they had a chance to fight, honestly. When you're ahead like this, I think you can keep going, but wasn't the choice. Golden Glue level 9, Mancloud the same here. Sorkshoe's actually early pickup there for Golden Glue. Still does not have his Athenes, whereas that's nearly done for Mancloud.
Now this bottom lane, SaintVicious making a visit here. Last time he was in this bottom lane, he gave up his life. Can he get anything this time?
Ooh, Sheep is not in the best spot. Some damage comes through. This is actually pretty scary. E comes out, and that is some pain. Saint will show up now to push the wave as well. Mash, he can try to wave through with the ulti. And looks like Saint won't tank it, so that's going to be no push just yet.
And now we actually have Golden Glue and Santorin making a rotation down bottom.
That's smart. They had to do that. Curse Academy could have died with Renekton's TP if he stayed. Then it was alone.
Good moves here from both sides.
That's actually impressive. Curse Academy saw that with no ward coverage. They just saw him leave the lane and was like, hold on, they could roam back out. So very smart by Curse Academy. Coast backs up because they realize that as well, and they go back to their own lanes, but like, even without vision, Curse Academy are making very informed decisions.
Yeah, you would think so when there's 4 former LCS players on the team, on both of these teams. Both teams playing phenomenally well today. But of course, only one gets to go to London. And they're both fighting for it. They're both fighting for those extra points. And they don't want to have to fight in that 3rd, 4th place match to see who gets that final berth.
Requalification,
or who has to go back to the last.
Golden Glue's jumps in the way. He's going to pop the ulti for it as well, but there's the chain coming off. Impactful has to leave, and Golden Glue is burning down with Ignite. Is he going to survive? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's going to live for that one. It's going to be no kills picked up, but still control over this bottom lane here for Team Coast. Now she's going to take turret aggro, but they've got champions here to push down with the minions. So Coast going to pick up their 2nd turret of the game. Mashby playing a little more aggressive than he probably should.
Meanwhile,
turret goes down.
Mid lane, we have SaintVicious and Mancloud who are constantly pushing this wave up. Rux is actually doing the enemy red buff right now for himself, too.
That's very impressive. Once you're ahead like this, Sunfire versus Tiamat, you no longer really take damage, but you can push your opponent around, and Rux is looking very good in this matchup. Won't get spotted by anyone. Actually does see Mancloud up looking to take this left-hand outer turret, and no one's really around to defend that. So actually, Curse Academy looking pretty decent. They're going to equalize the turret score one more time. And this is a decent place to be. So both teams...
Ooh, they're wrapping... It looks like they're going to wrap around this bottom lane here with Sheep and Santorin.
Okay, just now getting spotted. Pink Ward's there. Sheep knows he's been seen. And there's Elise. There's Morgana. Twitch has to play this so well.
Was he going to go straight into Mash? No, instead goes to the bush.
They have to check this sooner rather than later. They're looking for the recall. They're going to see him. Impactful's got nowhere to go. Yeah, he's going to let that one just die. Pulling for good measure.
Wow.
Why not?
Mash me, saying, I called you the first game, and call you in the 3rd game. It's his good luck charm for victory.
There was a way to outplay that, but unfortunately Impactful. It's a bunch of blind guesses to make that happen, so it doesn't go down. But that whole time, Curse Academy was pushing the top lane. The objective focus, I mean, yes, it's 5-1 in kills, but Curse Academy, almost the same goal because they're trying harder to get turrets down. And they're keeping up in the game because of it.
And Dragon is actually coming up very shortly. That's going to be the next point of contention here between these two teams. Teleport is available for Chris, but Coast has positioning.
They do. They've got everyone around here. They still have the gold lead. It's about 2,000, which, to be fair, does matter at this point. Mash is going to recall back. He chooses not to. He's got items to buy. He can't go for it here. There we go. Dragon being attacked. Curse Academy not really coming down in time. Rux is split pushing. Again, has TP to rejoin if he wants to. Looks like that won't be the case for anybody. And the uncontested Dragon comes through for Team Coast, pushing the gold lead even farther. About 1,000 gold for that Dragon.
Now we're going to have the backs coming out here, and they're going to see what they can buy for themselves. And now Rux is getting at that point where he can duel Chris. And Curse Academy's composition, they had the early game bully, but oh, they're going to go after Impactful? They do!
They're going to find him. Big damage going to come out. The chains, the double chains, the damage output. Golden Glue claims it. Sheep from over the wall makes it happen. And that ward, pretty good.
Big. Was able to get that ward control from those kills, but now Curse Academy, once again, objective focused, going straight for this turret here. But now Mashby's going to try to get him off it.
Well, he's going to do what he can. He's in a 1v3, and you just see the respect that Curse Academy is giving to them. They've only been able to push turrets when unopposed. Rux gonna Dragon form right through the bubble, gets kicked around, but the fire is still there. He's putting some damage down. Tidal Wave will force a bit of a disengage, but they're still putting damage across. Mashby with the chase down, the summoner heal as well. Bunny Fufu, one hit from dead, and Santorin claims the kill. The leap forward and the kill picked up by Mash. 2 kills. Mancloud over the wall. Cocoon's gonna hit, but nothing else to do.
And now they're going to continue to push this mid lane down. This turret is already below half HP. It's already set up and ripe for the taking here by Coast, who now have a 4K gold advantage. But there's other things in their sight. They actually want to get the objectives.
They're going to go for these. I think it's a very smart one. Yeah, blue buff will get picked up. Mid lane had no minions just yet, but bot lane does have a wave that they could choose to go for. That's not the case. The Curse Academy immediately went pushing down. Uh-oh, Mancloud, he is very caught out. 1 attack to go, and he will get picked up. Mash now on a rampage, 4-0-2. You said Illusion was a big deal. I tend to agree now looking at this game. Now Impactful tried way too hard to make a play. He will also fall down, and Curse Academy are falling apart.
Yeah, they're definitely looks like they're falling apart right there. Mash, he had a way to get out. He had Sheep to protect him at the same time, and just trying to force a play there from Impactful. But now Chris, he's starting to go defensive in his build with the magic resist. Don't know how well it's going to do because Mashmi is actually so big right now.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty hard to deal with. And Shyvana, she is actually more magic than physical in the long run, especially when you don't go for a Ruin King. So I understand the push towards MR. But yes, Mash is 4-0-2. He's got 138 CS. BT's coming with 4-2 very long on top of that one. Zircree's there as well. good luck dealing with him. He's going to be a giant threat in this game.
And so they end up backing off of it. The pressure is relieved for just a moment now as Santorin is back, and he's starting to get more items in that inventory and be this tank for the team. But Rux is also that big frontliner who's showing up to all these fights at the right time. And now Saint trying to get the enemy red. His last one was stolen. He wants at least one.
Well, it's a good job of him to see what people were up to and find his way into the base, so I got to congratulate him on that one. Rux, though, is pushing the top lane unopposed. No one came to stop this split push, and finally, 20 minutes into the game of hard work by the top laners, and every single time, actually, these teams find ways to trade their objectives back and forth. Curse Academy actually still winning in turrets.
Yes, Curse Academy is playing the turret game. They're about 5k gold down now because that's all kills right now. Kills and dragons have just been falling into the hands of Coast. They've been making the right plays, the right moves to get them. And it's a good bomb there from Mancloud to delay that pressure in the top lane that Rux is creating.
We heard an interview about it, though. Is you just try again after the cooldown is down and just go on the very next wave. But it's going to be a recall right now for Rux. The siege in the mid lane, though, Mash getting some very serious damage down. About 3 hits from killing it. He's got to back off in this one, though. And going to run through life, stealing off a couple of wraiths. Curse Academy is still slinking around and no engage to be found.
And that middle turret is very close to going down. They just have to push it up one more time and use a Trinity Force active. Or Trinity Force passive, I guess.
Yeah. One of the many passives on Trinity
Well, you
Force.
activate it.
You activate a spell.
Yes, you activate the passive by using a spell. Boom.
Well, jump over the wall. They look for the Twitch. The culling comes across, but the stealth, he's going to dodge away all of it.
Oh, the minions. The minions there blocking where the culling animation would stop when you hit Twitch. It would be a telltale sign that he was there stealth.
He's going to be all right with this one, though. So SaintVicious is going to be safe, taking double golems. Again, the buff steal is attempted here by Team Coast. Curse Academy are aware of it. So again, this smite fight, Saint is one level down, though. It's a good chance Santorin just gets this anyway. And he does take it. Santorin gets smite on that one after the Q. And so they trade red buffs ultimately.
And now Golden Glue sitting in this bush top lane, waiting for some type of pick, somebody to come along. So is Santorin, trying to deny the vision so that they can make plays in the enemy jungle.
And here's the next attempt. Good defensive wards are here for Curse Academy, though. You can't sweep them all away right now if you're Team Coast, and so CA are aware of the plays Coast trying to make. They're in the right spot, the right time to defend. They still have Chris pushing in this bottom lane. 208 CS. The attempt to catch their on a SaintVicious. They get the stun, they get the root, they get a lot of damage down. He's got a safeguard of Mancloud to get away, but the wave is now also gone.
But meanwhile, Chris, the bottom lane, he's just been pushing this entire time. There's no longer a TP on Rux. He used it just a little bit earlier. Middle turret's going to drop, but in this bottom tier 2, what can Rux do about Chris at this point in the game?
He can maybe push him around the map, but he can stay for the turret kill. 2 attacks to go, and there's the turret picked up. Chris going to start walking away from this one. Both level 14, and again, no armor items to speak of for Chris. So the basic attacks, the Ruin King for Rux is a big deal. Chris gets over the wall, but Rux will follow the flash.
He's going to TP out of there. He was waiting for Rux to use his ultimate because then you have no interruption on Shyvana.
Yeah. So summoner spells are used, and Chris is on about a 3-minute cooldown on his TP. Otherwise, down some summoners. So TP advantage will go to Rux in the near future when that comes back up. But Curse Academy, they got a turret for all that.
Yeah, they end up going 1-for-1 on the turrets. They lose the tier 2, but they also get a tier 2 in the bottom lane from Coast. So now Rux and Chris don't have their TPs. The Dragon is live right now. And they're going for it for Coast.
And Coast have done such a very good job of continually controlling that. A 5,000 gold lead. Now make that a 6,000 gold lead. It is getting better and better for Team Coast. Curse Academy just refused to fight them on the map because you can see that while they're ahead in gold, they'll pick you off with the LeBlanc. The only saving grace being, look, at some point Impactful is going to get big on Twitch and you've got to deal with it.
Nash using the culling for the zoning there. McHale's to go ahead and get himself out of the binding there from Bunny Fufu. It's still 10-1 in kills. Curse Academy, they only got that first blood. It's the only kill they've gotten all game long.
Yeah. It was a sweet start to this game, but they just haven't been able to make any plays. The lane bullies of Renekton. The fact that Mancloud was holding a lead over Golden Glue, but he got camped by Santorin early on in the game. He wasn't able to do very much. The sieges every time have been answered by somebody else, and Curse Academy just haven't been able to really put their foot on this game. Whereas Coast continue to control objective after objective after objective. Anytime there's a fight, they win it as well.
Yeah, because they've been playing the vision game perfectly. You can look at their inventories even right now, and they have pink wards galore. We just saw Sheep back get himself another pink ward so that he can set up for objectives and just increase their lead even more. Curse Academy, like I said, that first blood, they haven't gotten a kill in 22 or 23 minutes at this point.
Yep.
Not a single kill in 23 minutes for Curse Academy, despite all these brawls that happen.
Yeah, every single time it's been the disengage. And you know what? Sheep's Morgana's proven me wrong. I thought it was going to be a bad matchup, but they won that duo lane because of the early push, and they kept that lead going. He's been saving teams with Black Shields. It's been a very good, very, very good play by him throughout this match. So I got to say, very much impressed with Sheep.
Yeah, and also
getting revenge over his old XDG, man. You know,
that's true. That's true. There's a lot of teams here. We see Sheep. He used to be on Curse Academy at one point. Rux used to be on Curse Academy as well.
You know, it's funny. I'm actually looking at where everyone was from. There's actually very little team crossover.
Yeah.
You look at Coast. It's like XDG, Coast, basically, Dignitas, and Curse for their LCS incumbents going from bottom to top. And in fact, Cloud9 and Eclipse, you want to even go farther. So they're all from different teams. The same side for Curse Academy, Chris, Velocity, SaintVicious, Curse, Mancloud, XDG, Impactful, Complexity Red, if you want to count that, and Bunny Fufu is finally a second Curse player. There's one shared teammate. It's all entirely uproots the rest of the time through.
Yeah, and that's why teamwork was such a big factor coming into this. How well can you mesh with this new team, even though everybody is extremely individually skilled, and they can hold their own in lane and hold their own in play. But that's the question right now. Nash, a little caught out now.
Gotta be careful. The kick, though, is going to actually put him somewhere a little bit safe, and there's a Ziggs ulti the tidal wave as well, but they kind of dodge all of it. Very well played, and now Saint overextended. He's going to go down. The Lee Sin falls, and there's the engage from Rux. He wants this fight. They think they can do it. Damage coming through on everybody. Bunny Fufu very, very low on health. Binding gets dodged away, but Chris losing more health. The disengage, another Morgana ulti, and Sheep is going to run away from this one, but Santorin's got to be careful. Ziggs Bomb picks one up, making that a 1-for-1 fight, and Curse Academy cling on.
Well, it's the first kill in 24 minutes for Curse Academy there, off of the back of Mancloud, and a very prolonged engage. And despite the fact that Coast is up in gold, they aren't really up in levels across the board. Nobody has a 2-level advantage over anybody except for the AD carry, and that was just created now.
Oh, yeah, but he's already like halfway to 14 on top of that match.
Impactful.
He's getting really big, impactful. Yeah, he doesn't find anything there.
He made a crazy play earlier in the game.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Making less of those right now. Golden Glue again, getting some harass down, does not get stunned in time. He stays safe. Didn't have Sheep to protect him, but he didn't need it. As we saw, Locket was already done for Santorin. He's playing very supportive. Not the Sightstone Rush this time, but adding combat stats to be tankier in the battles.
The DFG for Golden Glue, trying to blow people up and just burst them down from 100 to 0. If he finds Impactful, he will decimate him in pretty much a second or two.
Oh, yeah.
A full combo would do him in at this point.
Life is painful if you're an AD carry against this Team Coast lineup. No matter who you are, it's going to be a rough situation. Phantom Dancer nearly done for the man. SaintVicious actually going to go for a second buff stew right now, and he's just keeping this up. The thing is, he didn't actually full clear the camp last time. He didn't have an automatic timer, and he still meant to show up before Coast does, so very well played there by Saint. Top lane of the split push works for MASH, 28 minutes in, 8,000 gold lead. Coast continuing to grow their lead. They don't have that same kind of obvious siege gameplay that we were seeing in Game 1, where it's like, oh, they're going to group up and it's going to be really obvious they kill turrets down. But Coast are making the right moves around the map. They're getting turrets picked up. For the first time, like all game, they've actually equalized the turret score. Curse Academy's been +1 almost the entire game.
Oh, Mancloud. He finds Golden Glue.
Golden Glue might find him, and the burst comes through. The Sheep Golden Glue synergy is there. And just the bind into the burst damage is enough to pick up the kill.
Just using the DFG, getting a full combo on him. A little bit of help there from Sheep with the Dark Binding. No flash was available. Barrier was available for Mancloud. Decided not to use it because it was just not worth it at that point. Just getting locked up so much by that combination. And another thing here that I want to touch on is when we were looking at champions, like we were talking about how they have to keep Impactful down. He's down 60 CS, 0-3.
Yeah.
They did a very successful job on Coast of keeping this Twitch out of the game. Hasn't completed his Phantom Dancer yet. He's not even at 2 items when MashMe is at 3. Yeah,
the general sort of pacing for itemization is like, your first one comes pre-15, your second one comes around 23-ish minutes, your third one comes by about 30 minutes. MashMe's ahead of schedule, 3 items at 29. You've got 2 items at 29 and Impactful. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's the proof right there. Like, this guy is very, very far behind. His impact's going to be quite low in this game, and that's unfortunate for him.
No Sightstone this game for Santorin on Elise.
Yeah.
He's not going with that style. Instead, it's Vision Denial, cooldown reduction all the way so they can get the Elise Morgana combo. Also, LeBlanc fits into that combo very well too with the roots, but look at that.
Oh my gosh, wow, Mikhail's used it to keep SaintVicious alive, but look at the culling. Big damage comes through and Saint falls down. Well done by Mash. Will they keep chasing? Looks like Chris will get away from the bubble, but he's still got to be careful. Yep, Rux goes in for that one, and Mashme's in the wings to deal plenty of damage. Two-man Zigzult. The bounce bomb will miss, but the blue buff now under control for Team Coast. They get the 1-for-0. And they're trying to take control. Chris, again, still around, sweeps away some wards, but takes a bunch of damage. He is a very tanky man, though, with that Randuin's. They won't kill him quickly.
They get the blue, but Baron's up, and so is Dragon. And there's actually pings onto Baron right now. They have pink ward control all over that area, and SaintVicious is not up for 10 seconds. By the time SaintVicious gets to about the red, Baron would be down if it's uncontested right now by Curse Academy.
Well, right now, though, Coast just walk actually by a ward, so Curse Academy does know they're trying it. And it's going to be the rush down to see if they can kill it in time. The respawns are there, the moves across the map. Sheep, Golden Glue, goodbye, Impactful. And he is gone. This man has disappeared, and that wasn't the Q ability that did it. Team Coast now pick up Baron Nashor at 30 minutes and a half. Sheep looking for his next way in on a Mancloud, or Chris, can he get the binding when the Wraith moves? No, he actually goes for Chris there. The root does land, though. Some good damage. Flashes the wall, stays safe.
And the fantastic burst there from the camping of Golden Glue. They do the Baron even before SaintVicious is even close to it, with just 3 members of the team keeping Sheep and Golden Glue in that bush to catch somebody out. Now they're starting the siege. They have the Baron. They have the catch potential, the pick potential with multiple roots and stuns on this team.
Well, speaking of which, they get a lot of damage on the Saint. They get the root on a Mancloud, and there's the dive. Chris in the front line taking the culling, but there's Ziggs going down in this fight. The jump in as well from LeBlanc. The heals coming in, but it's going to be the 2-for-0 anyway, and they are now on to the inhibitor turret. That one is falling rapidly, and Team Coast even have minions to help. So Baron buff and a 5v3 means they are in the base. They've only ever lost 2 people all game. 2 people in 30 minutes, and Coast are looking real good this game.
They're looking really good this game. They're going to go ahead and tank this bottom turret and just get damage onto it. They don't have a mini wave just yet, but oh, Golden!
Almost lands the E. That would have exploded the support, but now Santorin's a little bit under the weather there. Just gets exploded there thanks to the bubble and the damage in from Chris. I think that was a bit greedy. They've got to back up now.
Yeah, they might give up Dragon, or they might take it on their way out. They don't have a smite available to them, so it's very prone to steal, so let's put it that way. They're all trying to back right now with Golden. Actually, he's going to have none of that. He's going for Impactful.
Doesn't quite land the E. Looks like he's going to stay safe with a flash there from the Twitch, and he's going to be able to defend this turret. Looks like Coast have bought enough time and pushed the minion wave in to keep Curse Academy back, and so they ping, yep, let's go for Dragon.
Yeah, they don't have a smite available. Only 2 members here. They're going to have to wait for Mash and Rux to get there. No pings or contest from Curse currently. It doesn't look like they're even heading in that area.
The 2 men, the 2 mages making it happen.
Yeah, Golden's off on the right doing a ton of damage here, but Rux going straight through, using burnout damage on top of the culling is just a lot of sustained, persistent damage. Chris barely gets out of this with just a sliver of HP, and Bunny Fufu eventually tries to re-engage it with a tidal wave, but it doesn't work out.
But it's worked wonderfully, though, for Coast. You got to say about this one, they are 16-3, looking to clinch the 3rd and final game of the series here to make it to the Summer Series 1 finals there. Trip to London in about a week. Play in front of the awesome European crowd. I assume mostly British, but you can come from anywhere if you really want, of course. And this is going to be the test for these guys, right? It's going to be the first stage experience these players have had in some time. Curse Academy, of course, to get there themselves, need to really grit their teeth and find a comeback here, but it's going to take a lot to do so.
Yeah. We're going to have to see how they adjust if they end up there against Lolpro, who's waiting to figure out who they end up fighting, whether it's their sister team and it's a family feud, or if it's Team Coast and it's this new team that looks really, really good.
Yeah.
And their synergy's only going to get better over time.
Absolutely will. We've seen some very impressive stuff overall, some good shots called, and some good plays, a few misplays, but largely a pretty impressive showing. Santorin ready to push with the rest of his team. 4 men in the bot lane, still Rux sent to the top.
Yeah, the 4-man bubble at the start from Bunny Fufu to get the first blood. Their losses were very minimal. And then now, siege in the base and late game.
Wow,
Calling.
so much
Golden
damage.
So
Impactful has got to be real careful. Golden will be forced to run away, but he's going to be just fine. It's going to give them some time to put pressure down. You're seeing the minion wave once again cleared down to the bot lane. Santorin will tank the turret for a shot. They'll be ready to push one more time.
And Meanwhile, Rux is still in the top lane. His teleport is up. Chris's is not, but he can just walk over there and it's almost up too. They're going to just continue to siege this down. They have the Lucian. Mash is so good on that champion. He's just able to walk up, pop off a few shots, get the turret. It's going to go down this way.
There we go. Turret goes down onto inhibitor number 2 now for Team Coast. Mid one respawning before too long. And look at that. Rux has been left alone to push the top inhibitor turret down. So now every inhibitor is available to kill. Might be a full turret game there for Team Coast. Putting a lot through there. Curse Academy hiding in the background. Spiderlings come out. The bubble's going to miss. Mash still at half HP. Inhibitor now down to half HP. Second culling of the fight doesn't land very much of it. Cocoon's going to miss as well. Saint shows up and down goes inhibitor number 2. Top lane's still under fire as well. Explodes Impact. I didn't even see that one coming. But Golden Glue 5-0 and 3 in this game. Void Staff completed. Mash is low. Here comes Chris towards the front lines. Can he find anything? But he's going to be bound up. He's not going to get it. The shields come out from the jungler. Saint's going to fall on top of that one as well. Many kills picked up. Mancloud goes for it. Can't find it. And now Bunny Fupu's binded. That's going to be game. Team Coast take it to 3 games and win the series 2-1. They're going to the summer finals and they'll play LoL Pro in just a week.
They're going to go to London. Santorin, he just got here. Now he's going back to Europe and going to go compete on that stage in the road show. Congratulations to Team Coast. They're going to the finals up against LoL Pro.
They look good overall. Early game moves were great. Their duo lane crushed. The Lucian first pick. You were right. He dumpstered it. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it was absolutely great from Mash and Sheep. Golden Glue held up as well. Deathless that game. Rux, I thought was great every single game. A lot of Shyvana for him.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, he swapped over to that Shyvana. He used to be a big Renekton player all throughout. And then he picked up Aatrox and he swapped it over. And he changes with the meta, you know?
Yeah.
He's a very, very malleable guy. You just be like, yeah, you should probably play Shyvana right now. She's really powerful in the top lane. And he's like, can I split push with her? It's like, yeah, you can. Okay, go.
Yeah.
He's like, Jax, okay, yeah, I can do that. So anything he can split push with and scale with. Rux typically doesn't play those early game bullies anymore.
Yeah,
like
he's more the team fight utility.
Exactly. And he's doing a fantastic job on that too. And Santorin, the new guy coming in here, came up really big every game. He had the highest kill participation on his team aside from Sheep.
Yeah.
Who showed up to pretty much every fight in that game. He was making picks left and right. And the fact that the first blood and the catch didn't demoralize them is really good and really telling of how much communication they have and how much morale they have. Yeah,
they bounced back from it so well. And what I really liked actually was that it was the Sheep Golden Glue buddy system. They actually were the 2 roamers that went around saying, you know, look for the jump over the wall from LeBlanc. If you land the chain, let the bind hit, and then hit the dark binding afterwards. And like these guys would kind of go together and find these individual picks. The wards that were deep in the jungle would find people like Impactful or people like Chris, and they'd get those pickoffs. So very impressed by the gameplay of Coast. The comp worked out. The fact that they could take their support in their mid laner and they could go do things. I liked the malleability of that. So very impressed with these guys. So after that well-deserved win, here's what the bracket looks like heading into the last week of Summer Series 1. Team Coast advances to the finals at Wembley Arena in London to battle Team LoL Pro in front of a huge sold-out crowd. That best-of-3 match will take place live on Sunday, June 22nd, before the EU LCS.
And even though they lost, Curse Academy will go toe-to-toe with Frank Fang Gaming Thursday, June 19th, with points and automatic entry into Summer Series 2 on the line.
And so that match will take place after the NALCS on Thursday, June 19th. Our coverage begins that day at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 8:30 p.m. Central European Summer Time with the LCS preview show. Then, of course, Curse takes on Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid matches up with Dignitas.
And after that, LMQ battles Counterlogic Gaming, and then it's Evil Geniuses versus Complexity.
So with that, we've reached the end of our time together tonight. But before we go, I want to say thanks again to our friends at Coca-Cola. Now for myself, Zirene, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for watching, good night, and GG.
Happy Father's Day.